Hey, shalom, shalom. Anak nawa ha'aibar yasha Allah hawalakim la'atam kal shabwai baharacha wakak shah yabashim yahushah. Hey, we the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yabashim Yahushah. Yahweh, which means he exists, Bahashem in the name, Yahushah he delivers. Call Layim La, Yahweh, Bashim Yahushah, Bashim Rcha HaKodash, Wa Mashana Kabadim Zakwenyim Nawa, Wa Malakim Shah Yasha Allah, Hazakwenyim Rcha got a wall, Wa Chasa, Wa Shalom, Wa Barakim, La Bachaya Shah, Hagawi Yasha Allah Shalom. Alright, so all praise to the Most High Yahweh, which means he exists, Bahashem in the name, Yahushah he delivers. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Israel, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and mercy, peace, and blessings to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom and peace. All right. So this is an article in RT. It reads, more Americans suffering, Salah, more Americans suffering than ever before. Poll. It says amid economic decline, a record number of people have rated their lives as poor. The percentage of Americans who say that they are suffering rose to 5.6% in a Gallup poll published on Monday. This number has been climbing steadily since last summer and is currently higher than at any point during the 2008 recession or 2020 CP. Gallup's quality of life index rates respondents as thriving, struggling, or suffering based on how they rank their present life situation and expected future situation. A score less than 4 out of 10 is seen as suffering, while 7 or above is categorized as thriving. It says, while 59% of Americans said that they were thriving last November, that number has since fallen to 51% as of this July. The drop is not as severe as the 46% recorded during the first wave of lockdowns and job losses in the spring of 2020, or the 46.4% seen during the stock market crash of 2008. And so, give me a second. I'm going to read this one again. It says, Gallup's quality of life index rates respondents as thriving, struggling, or suffering based on how they rank their present life situation and expected future situation. A score of less than 4 out of 10 is seen as suffering, while 7 or above is categorized as thriving. You see, so they ranked it out of their present situation and then what they see in the future. You see, and they said that the number is way low. So everybody's doing worse. And I wanted to go into this part where it says future situation because don't nobody see a future in America, Babylon the Great, man. Like, this place is finished. The economy is shot. So let me get a precept real fast. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, remember now thy creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not. You see, so we're supposed to remember the Lord. You Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, Israelite foreigners are supposed to remember the Lord, Yahbashim Yahushua, before the evil days come. You see, before Jacob's trouble comes. It says, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them. It says, while the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, and the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble. You see, and the keepers of the house represent these different economists. You see, and they tremble because the economy is through, it's finished. You see, they got to come with a new type of monetary system. It says, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. You see, and the grinding is ceasing. You see, there's no, in the scriptures that say in Isaiah 19, there shall be no work for Egypt. You see, the dollar is not worth anything anymore. You see, so nobody sees a future in this place. It says, and those that look out of the windows be darkened again. And they're not seeing that windows being darkened represents, they're not seeing a future in America, Babylon the Great. That's why when we go back to this article, everybody was doing worse, and they expect in the future the situation is going to be worse. They don't see any hope in this place. You see, it says, while 59% of Americans, I'm skip down, says, however, a suffering figure of 5.6 is the highest ever recorded by Gallup since it began measuring in 2008. It comes after a previous record of 4.8 was set in April and has climbed upwards since 2.8 and has climbed upwards since 2.8% last July. The pre-2022 high of 4.7% was reached in December 2008, shortly after Dow Jones suffered its largest single-day loss in history. The apparent increase in suffering comes as poll after poll shows that Americans are pessimistic about the state of the U.S. economy and rate rate these economic concerns above all other issues. So they feel the windows being darkened. You see, it's no hope in the U.S. All right. It says the U.S. inflation rate currently stands at 8.5%, slightly down from 9.1% in June, with prices of food, fuel, and consumer goods rising. The Biden administration has spent lavishly, with the president allocating more than $54 billion since February for military and economic aid to Ukraine and passing a lavish climate, health care, and tax reform bill earlier this month. So they sending a whole bunch of money over there. You see, the economy is already through, but they're trying to basically trying to collapse the dollar, so they can bring in that new thing, that the MOTB. You see, Biden just signed that act, the CHIP Act, so this thing is moving, But let's keep going. It says, while the bill is named the Inflation Reduction Act, the Congressional Budget Office has noted that it will saddle middle-class Americans with around $20 billion in additional taxes over the coming decade, whilst having a negligible impact on inflation. Biden has attempted to blame rising prices on Russian President Putin and Russia's military operation in Ukraine, repeatedly using the phrase Putin's price hike in his speeches. However, just 11% of Americans believe that Putin is responsible for high gas prices, and Biden's approval rating has continued to fall, reaching a new low of 38% in a Gallup poll in July. You see, so the economy is feeling it. You see, and these Babylonians are feeling it. All right. And said that inflation was at an all-time high, you see. So I got a quick precept. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 16. And we'll start at verse 17. It says, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? Verse 18, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. You see, we in the beginnings of sorrows and great mournings, you see. The beginning of famine, we in famine right now, and great death. The beginning of wars. All right, we seeing wars, rumors of wars. You see, we're seeing all the commotions going on right now with each different nation rising against nation. It says, and the power shall stand in fear. You see, those that are the heads of these nations, chiefly going into the elites, they're standing in fear. It says, the beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? Verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things, they shall not turn from their wickedness. You see, 2/3 don't want to turn from their wickedness. They have pleasure in unrighteousness, and that's why they got to perish on this side. It says, nor always be mindful of the scourges. They're not paying attention to the inflation, the famine, the plagues going on. They're not paying attention to none of that. Verse 21. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon the earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. You see, evils is growing upon the earth. It's a spirit of judgment out here. You see, but it's going to the point of the victuals being cheap. This is going into hyperinflation. You see, right now things it's being inflated, but it's gonna become hyperinflated. You see, so right now is when it's cheap, somewhat. You see, but it's gonna be even more inflated. It says that they shall think themselves to be in good case. You see, 2/3 in these heathen is not thinking about the plagues that's being sent. It says, and even then shall evils grow upon the earth. Sword, you see, we seeing a lot of death going on from the sword. It said that the love of many shall wax cold. We seeing a lot of cold deaths. Yeah, it's various different examples of that. Most recently, but I'm gonna keep going. It says famine. It's a famine of just about everything: food, gas, workers, work. This isn't great confusion. You see, nobody knows what's going on. No one knows why everything is happening. It was just an article the other day. Might have been today, but I seen it sometime recently. But yeah, people were like, "Why is there so many sicknesses going on?" You see, that's that great confusion. Let me go back to the article. But yeah, that was pretty much it. Again, these Babylonians is feeling it. They it's no work for Egypt. All right. Baba Ratazada was edifying, call her light and la Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah Bahashim Kakdash Shalom.